Help, I'm a prisoner in the library. Chapter 10. Black the boots and make them shine. Jo Beth was beginning to feel as if she had spent hours walking up and down and around this big old house. She was tired. The cat was too, she thought. It had followed them upstairs, studied the minor bird with narrow eyes, and then had leaped up on the sofa. Curling itself cozily in one of the blankets, it promptly went to sleep. That's what Jo Beth wanted to do too, lie down on a soft bed, pull a blanket up around her face, and not wake up until the sun came up in the morning. "Couldn't we shoot the rockets off tomorrow?" she asked hopefully. "Aunt Madge won't mind if we don't get to her house until tomorrow. Nobody likes visitors at night anyway," she added. "Fiddlesticks," Miss Fenton replied. "We've got to get a message out somehow and let your parents know you girls are safe. Off we go. Mind how you carry that box upstairs, Mary Rose. I'll light the way ahead of you, and Jo Beth can walk right behind you." "There it goes again," Jo Beth thought resentfully. "Just because I'm the youngest one here, I have to come trailing behind everybody. Well, once the baby is here, if he isn't here already, I won't be the youngest anymore. It will be my turn to tell somebody what to do, and he'll have to listen." She felt better about the baby somehow. She'd have somebody to boss around. "Will you watch what you're doing?" Mary Rose yelled. "You trying to set me on fire or something? Keep that candle away from my hair." "How far up do these steps go?" Jo Beth complained. "It's like climbing a mountain." From the basement to the third floor was exhausting, Miss Fenton admitted, but she fairly flew up the steps all the same. "I'm half mountain goat," she added. "Don't pay any attention to Jo Beth," Mary Rose puffed. The box kept getting heavier the higher they went. "She always wants to know if we're there yet." "Well, we are there," Miss Fenton led the way. "Let's put the box down here beside this window. It has a good solid windowsill. We'll need something solid as a base for shooting off these rockets." "Like a launching pad for a rocket to the moon," Mary Rose laughed. She put the box down and looked around. She could see all kinds of different shaped objects, but she couldn't tell what they were. "What's up here anyway?" "The car flasher," Miss Fenton suddenly remembered. "It's in the storage closet. Bring your candles, girls." Mary Rose and Jo Beth kept close to her as she walked across the huge room. "I knew it. There it sits up on the shelf. I'll hand it down to you, Mary Rose. There you go. Careful now." Miss Fenton clicked on a small switch. A strong red light came on at once. It went round and round, lighting up different figures nearby. "My safety emergency lantern. I always take it with me in the car when I travel. I've never seen such a fidgety child," she said to Mary Rose. Jo Beth was fidgeting. Each time a new figure was caught in the eerie red glow, Jo Beth jumped. "What kind of place is this?" she asked once more. "Bring your candles over here. Let me show you something." Miss Fenton watched the expressions on the faces of the two girls when they recognized two figures up on a platform. Raggedy Ann and Raggedy Andy were sitting on two large chairs. They were smiling at a strange-looking creature with striped arms and a striped band around his long, round head, who was holding a dish of cookies in his hands. "Mr. Cookie!" Jo Beth shouted. "He's from Raggedy Ann and Cookie Land. I have that book." "Do you know these people?" Miss Fenton asked, walking to the next display. There was a figure of a man wearing a crown on his head and a long purple robe trimmed with fur, sitting at a table counting money. Near him, a lady with a tall, cone-shaped hat, on top of which perched a tiny crown, was sitting on a throne eating a slice of bread. On the floor beside her was a bottle marked honey, was tipped over on its side. On the edge of this platform, a figure dressed in a uniform with a tiny, white, frilly apron was hanging clothes on a line. A bird was pulling at her nose. Mary Rose didn't even have to look at the card beside the platform. She began to sing. "The king was in his counting house, counting out his money. The queen was in the parlor, eating bread and honey. The maid was in the garden, hanging out the clothes, when down came a blackbird and pecked off her nose." "What else is up here?" Jo Beth asked eagerly. "Do you remember the Cowardly Lion and the Straw Man and the Tin Man?" Miss Fenton pointed to a far corner of the room. "There they all are, skipping down the yellow brick road." "What about the Wicked Witch of the West? I liked her the best. She was so mean." Mary Rose shivered. "We have 2 scenes set up from The Wizard of Oz. That's still a very popular book," Miss Fenton explained. "I never saw a house like this," Mary Rose explained. "I told you my grandfather was a collector. This used to be the ballroom. But Grandfather collected so many things, this became a large storage area, just like the basement. I don't know what's going to happen to it all when this old house is torn down someday. Miss Fenton's voice became husky. I grew up with these Storybook people. You could sell them, Mary Rose said. Nobody wants stuff like this anymore. They'd make good firewood, I guess. She brushed her tears from her eyes angrily. Well, black the boots and make them shine, she went on in a fierce tone. Talking isn't doing, and we're up here to do. To the window, girls. Let's get those rockets in the air. JoBeth followed them slowly. She was thinking hard. There must be something Miss Fenton could do with this collection. Storybook people shouldn't become firewood. That wasn't right. She had said something to her sister earlier, a word she had used. What was it? Why couldn't she remember? Never mind, she told herself as she had approached the window. With everything that had happened since they'd come to the library, it was a wonder she still knew her own name. That word would come back to her, and when it did, she had a feeling she'd be able to help Miss Fenton.